Okay, arrest field bug report number 35. All right, I'm going to do one after this one. Get back to the original topic. I'm going to take time out and cover another topic for right now. I was listening to Dave Champion, his Uncorked radio program on the internet there, in his archives from January 6, 2011. And he's talking about gays and homophobia and all this. There's an issue here that you guys are kind of bypassing. You talk about being stuffed in a room for 2 hours with, a bunch of gays, and how one person, the heterosexual, would be afraid for his own homosexuality. I mean, his sexual identity. And, well, come on, that's trivial. All right, 2 hours. First of all, that's not really going to happen. And second of all, what's really going to happen, what's more likely to happen, is that you're going to be stuck in a young, impressionable 18-year-old just turning an adult, okay? And I have a child, son, so this is what I'm thinking about, okay? Now, I'm not afraid for my own sexual identity. I'm afraid for my sons, okay? Because they're teaching this stuff in public school that it's an acceptable, alternative lifestyle, okay? And we parents have a right to teach them that it's not. But we're expected to put our children in public school, okay? And they're going to teach this stuff to our impressionable young children. That's the issue. They're already teaching our children lies, like the evolution lie, being scientific. No, it's not. The scientific method says that you have to be able to prove, to demonstrate it in the lab. Okay, and repeatedly. You can't demonstrate evolution in the lab repeatedly. Not possible. It is not scientific. You can't do that with creation either. So creation is not scientific. Evolution is not scientific. They're both either philosophies or religions. Neither one belongs in a science class. So for you creationists out there, you're going about this all wrong. You need to get the evolution nonsense out of the science department. Not try to insert creation into the science department. That's the wrong strategy. The right strategy is get the evolution nonsense out of science. Okay, there is no missing link. They've never been able to prove that. They can't demonstrate it in the lab at all. End of argument on evolution. Now, so they already got that lie in there. Now, if I don't want my son being taught that crap that, gay sex is an acceptable alternative lifestyle, it's not. That's what I believe. You're teaching something in opposition to what I believe, and I have a right to teach my son, okay? All right? And you got my son, my son's in public school 8 hours a day, every day, and they're teaching this stuff, all right? I have a right not to have him taught that crap, all right? And when he turns 18, they are going to be teaching him to drive in public school. By the time he turns 18, he's going to be an adult illegally. He's going to be allowed to drive by then. Okay? And the thing is, we got police out there roaming the streets all the time. He's young, he's impressionable still. Just because he turned 18 makes no difference. Chances are he's going to screw up somewhere, and he's going to wind up having to deal with the police. They're going to want to put him in jail. And we know that the police railroad people all the time. So yeah, I am concerned about the possibility that he is going to end up in jail, surrounded by a bunch of other men who have sexual appetites. And yeah, the possibility is definitely there. I'm not afraid for my own sexuality. I'm afraid for my son's. Because, hey, you know, I want to have grandchildren someday myself. And homosexuals don't have children. Okay? You know, I understand you probably already, Dave, you probably already had children. And guess what? You're probably divorced. I haven't heard you actually say that. But I understand that a lot of men, I guess they get tired of women and putting up with, you know, all the stuff that they put you through in marriage. And eventually you just want to say, the heck with it. I've already had several children, you know, and you're divorced now, and the judge gave the children to your wife, your ex-wife. You know, I don't know if any of this is true in your case. I'm just bringing up the situation, all right? But I can understand that maybe a lot of men eventually just say, the heck with women, I'll try men. I'm not thinking about doing that, but, you know, women can be rather frustrating. And our society today is socialist. They don't care, you know, about the fact that they're breaking up families. Okay? That's what these CPS people do. That's what the family courts do from the start. Whenever you deal with a family court, that's what they try to do. They bust up your family. So anyway, I'm guessing that you've already had to deal with a family court. You've been separated from your children, and now you're focused on other things, particularly the issue of liberty. And I think it's great that you are, but I think you've got it wrong in your analysis of this whole homophobia thing. You know, we're afraid for our children. Okay? You know, and we know, we parents know that if our children turn homosexual, we're not going to have grandchildren. Okay? I do not want my children being exposed to this stuff. Okay? It's just not acceptable. I think, and we all know that, listen, you get stuck in a jail or prison for a long period of time, we all know that these guys got sexual appetites. Okay? This is what we're afraid of. If you're a cop or an ex-cop, you should understand that. You know, maybe you haven't been held in jail for a long period of time. I don't know. But imagine that you have a child. You know, and you're pro-homosexual. Okay? And I'm not arguing about the liberty of anybody. I'm not saying that anybody should be denied their liberties because of their sexuality. Okay? I'm saying that I do have a legitimate reason to be concerned that my son someday is going to be exposed to homosexuals and be stuck with them for an extended period of time, not just lousy 2 hours. Okay? That's a trivial example. Trivial. Okay? So don't hypothetically put me in a situation where I'm stuck in a room for 2 hours with 20 homosexuals. That's just entirely hypothetical, and it's trivial. I'm concerned about when my son someday, you know, gets picked on by a cop again and again and again. I hear situations where cops do pick on younger white guys. I know of a guy here in Richmond who got 37 tickets from the same cop 37 in a row. Okay? And he's a young guy, and this was 7 years ago. All right? So the possibility that he could have done some jail time eventually is definitely there. Okay, and as a young guy, he's still quite impressionable. All right? So he could have ended up in jail, surrounded by a bunch of guys with sexual appetites that aren't going to be satisfied any other way than by doing you-know-what to other guys in the same situation. I don't want to see my son in that situation. All right, that's what I'm afraid of. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people are afraid of. And you did not address that issue. Okay, and we all know that a lot of people get railroaded right into jail. And you know, I'm going to get back to the issue that I'm really on about. And that is the fact that these cops assume that they have the authority to decide whether or not there is just cause for an arrest warrant, and whether or not there's an arrest or a search is warranted. They're taking on that decision and that authority. They neglect to take it before a magistrate. And the magistrate is the one with that authority to decide if an arrest or a search is warranted. The courts are responsible for making that decision, not the cops. And I'm going to get into this issue next. Okay? So, yeah, I am very concerned that my son could get railroaded into jail. That's what's happening here. You cops do this crap all the time. I'm sick of it. Okay, so this is definitely a very real possibility here of what I'm talking about. The way to put a stop to it is to put a stop. You know, I have that fear that this is, that this is going to happen. It's definitely a legitimate fear because I know you cops, you don't follow the process properly. Okay, and this is just as much, if not more so, the fault of the courts because they're falling down on the job. Okay, and I'm going to explain this in my next arrested field bug report. This is number 35. Number 36 should be next. I only got like a minute left. All right, so Dave Champion, uncorked January 6th, 2011. You really didn't address our concerns of the so-called homophobes. Okay, I'm afraid for my child. Get it right, okay? Because he is impressionable. I got an 8-year-old right now. And I got to teach him, I know, I've had this experience. That, as soon as you turn 18, you're just barely legal, And then you go off to the university, go off to college for the first time, and there are these cults that prey upon young, impressionable 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, okay? Maranatha is one of those cults, and I ran into one of them. And I got involved with them briefly. But man, just because you got textbook smarts doesn't mean you got street smarts. Fortunately, I had enough street smarts that I eventually realized I needed to get out of that. Okay. It wasn't a good place to be. So, anyway. So, that's the Arrested Field Bug Report number 35. I'm going to leave it right there.